Okay. So thank you everybody again for coming tonight. We're really excited to talk about academic success at ESF. So we have some really wonderful panelists here with you to talk about all of the great services available. So as I mentioned earlier, we do have some folks who will be helping to moderate the chat. And we'll also just be discussing a lot of different topics tonight. So if you have a question, feel free to put it in there. And we will leave time at the end for questions that you can kind of ask in a more free-form way. So what I will be doing first is just to kind of go over who we have here. So first, we'll talk a little bit about registration information, kind of how to prepare your student kind of for their academic journey. And then we'll toss it over to all of our fantastic support resource folks that we have on the call tonight. And then kind of at the end, we'll talk a little bit about what academic advising looks like in college. So as your student kind of starts their academic journey, we really want you to keep two things in mind. One, that this is a big shift for everybody. And it's important to seek out support resources before you need them. We see this happen a lot where students come in really confident, and that's a fantastic thing. But there are so many wonderful people here who are going to try and help your student on their journey. So support is abundant. Even if you don't think you need it, try it out, see if it might be helpful to getting you to that next level. And the next recommendation is to get engaged. I know sometimes when you think about academics and all of the rigor that comes with that, it's very easy to just stay focused only on one thing. But the beautiful part about being a student and having all these opportunities is getting to try new things. And a lot of the evidence supports that if your student is involved in at least one thing outside of the classroom, they're more likely to be successful. So just know that there are tons of other opportunities that we will also share with you throughout this process. So we hope you kind of pay attention to all those things as they come up through your email and through the following presentations. These are just some quick tips for first-year students. They might seem like very simple tips, but they are really essential to your student having a good start to their semester and finishing strong. So things like going to class regularly, participating actively in their lectures, and then also structuring their time. This might be the first time that they'll have to do that independently. So it is a skill, just like anything else, something that you might have to learn as you go along. And we have a few people on the call who might be able to help you do that. So know that there are also resources available through not only your faculty, but also kind of in all different of your academic disciplines and also your academic advisors here. In terms of mental health support, we also will have folks kind of about 2 weeks to talk a little bit about the supports that are available here as well. So some of you may be wondering at this point in the semester, where are my classes? What classes am I going to be involved in? And that's a really great question. You are going to be pre-registered based on your academic major into some credits, depending on what credits you are transferring in, things dependent on your math placement score, things like that. You will have an opportunity to meet with your academic advisor to figure out all of those details prior to the start of classes. So during orientation, make sure your student goes to their academic advising appointment. And that will be a great opportunity for them to kind of dig in a little bit deeper as to what they'll be taking. There will also be some tutorials in orientation about all of these different platforms for you to understand your degree, your transcript, and all of the requirements. But your academic advisor is also a really great resource for support as well. So make sure if you haven't sent your transcripts in yet, make sure you do that, because that will help your advisor and the registrar's office make those decisions about your first year classes. So advisor assignments will also be made over the summer. Those will be available in your My ESF banner profile and will also be available upon check-in to orientation. So you'll get a copy of your tentative class schedule, and it will also list your advisor on there. You may also get some outreach over the summer too. So I just kind of wanted to set the stage a little bit for some things that your student might be expecting. But I'm going to pass it over now to kind of the star of the show, all of our support resource folks tonight. So the first guest that we have is Allie O'Mara, who will talk a little bit about academic success at ESF.
Thank you, Amelia. I will wait for the screen to load before I get too far. My name is Allie O'Mara, as Amelia pointed out. I use they, them pronouns, and I am the coordinator academic success here at ESF. I work within the Moon Library space and within the Academic Success Center, adjacent to many of our other support services. And so I just want to give you a quick overview of what kind of academic support services are available to incoming students from the get-go and throughout their time at ESF. Our Academic Success Center comprises our peer tutoring program, where students can receive free small group tutoring with experienced tutors who have previously taken the class themselves or have TA'd for the class. They can meet with me as the academic coach for students here in Moon Library to talk about things like time management skills, as Amelia talked about in one of the previous slides, learning how to study for college, learning how to take tests and conquer test anxiety, as well as a host of other one-on-one individualized inventories of skills and skill building opportunities for students here at ESF. We also offer these as skill building workshops for groups of students, and the schedule for that will be posted on our ESF calendar and our Engage platform that students will learn about more at orientation. Students can also use the drop-in math center within the Academic Success Center, and we have team study rooms and study sessions that we'll be running for students. Some of the folks on the call are going to talk about some of our adjacent services, including the Writing Resource Center, the Public Speaking Lab, the Office for English for Speakers of Other Languages, which are also located down here near the Academic Success Center. And also critically important for new students are faculty and teaching assistant office hours and their academic advisors. These are part of the team that help students to navigate higher education, which is so different from their experience in high school, and being present and proactive in getting to know their faculty, keeping their advisor in the loop on what they're experiencing as a student. These are some of the frontline workers in supporting students, directing them to resources available at the Academic Success Center or through student support or through to opportunities for new students who the orientation process is forever ongoing. And these are some of the folks who can help students build those connections and make those networks for success. Some other important resources for students include the Center for Disability Resources, which we ally with Syracuse University to provide documentation of academic accommodations, and they also provide services for students who, even if they don't necessarily have a diagnosis yet, but they might think they might have a learning disability, they have the infrastructure to support students who want to go through that process and maybe get some accommodations without or before accessing diagnosis. They're also really helpful, as is ESF student support in cases of short-term disabilities. If you sprain an ankle and you have a hard time getting to classes, there are resources available to help negotiate and to communicate academic accommodations. Students who are taking physics classes at Syracuse University have access to the SU Physics Clinic. Amelia mentioned that you'll be learning more about the counseling services available at ESF, but this is an important resource for students who are transitioning to really new social systems, new life systems, and can use some of that expertise to help them find their footing in higher education. Students may also interface with academic integrity, student support. Renee will also talk a little bit about that. Important for broad questions about everything from having health concerns and wanting to know how a withdrawal process might look like, but also important for everything from small to major crises and getting students connected with support systems. Librarians are amazing and they know so many things, both here at ESF and at SU. So whether students are doing research or whether they want to borrow a bike to explore the city, we have some pretty amazing resources available from our library systems. And students will also find very helpful, thanks to our Honor Society and ESF faculty. We have a bank of test and quiz files from previous classes that they will be able to access and use for studying and to demystify what college level quizzes and tests might look like. I want to talk a little bit more in detail about our peer tutoring program. As I mentioned, our peer tutors are folks who have experienced these specific courses themselves, and so they have insider knowledge on how to do well. They often also serve as role models for students because they know how to do well in our classes, what kind of study strategies work, how to manage your time, and also how to develop connections and find professional and academic opportunities. Tutoring is free. We have most of the major courses available for tutoring that students will experience in their first and second year, which includes a couple of higher level courses for things like genetics and organic chemistry. Tutoring happens down here in Moon Library in the Academic Success Center. They are regularly scheduled. Students can access our scheduling site and start booking themselves tutoring appointments starting the second week of classes after Labor Day. And it's really important to encourage students to commit to regular tutoring at a time that works for them. Tutoring works best if it happens weekly, if it's part of students' routine, if it's built into their schedule. That's where we see students most likely to thrive.
Thank you so much. The next folks that I'm going to hand off is the Writing, Rhetoric, and Communications program. So I believe either Jason or Jacob. Jacob? Okay. So I'll pass the mic over to Jacob Gedetsis, who will be talking about all of our opportunities through the writing program.
Hey, everybody. My name is Jacob Gedetsis, and I teach in the writing program, and I also coordinate the Writing Resource Center. And I'm really excited to meet all our students in the fall. It is kind of lonely and sad during the summertime, and so we're so excited to have the Moon Library kind of bustling with student life again. So the Writing, Rhetoric, and Communications program houses 4 of our kind of student-facing centers. the Writing Resource Center, the English Speaker for Other Languages Center, the Public Speaking Lab, and the Digital Storytelling Studio. Appointments begin the kind of second week of classes. And we have lots of information about where to kind of find that information. In addition to like academic writing, the writing program also is the kind of place where if you love to write creatively and want to communicate your science and your knowledge to a mass audience, we're kind of the place to go. So that's just a brief overview of the program itself. All students, for the most part, will take one of our classes in the fall or spring as a part of our general education requirements. So you'll get to know some of our really great faculty and staff who are also present right here on our phone call today. Maybe we'll move to the next slide. Great. So I just want to say too, I'm a first generation college student, and I'm really happy to have a kind of conversation about support services. I think when I was first joining college in my first semester, I was nervous that if I asked for help, that like admissions would knock down the door and like drag me out of my seat and say like, you don't belong here, you have to leave. And that is not the case, right? Asking for help doesn't mean that you don't belong. It just means that you need some extra support to make sure that you have these on-ramps for success. And that's really what our goal is at all of these centers. So the Writing Resource Center, we're located in the basement of Moon at the garden level. And I think sometimes when we think about a Writing Resource Center, we think maybe it's like this kind of sterile place where you go, it's like a dental office for writing and you get your grammar tooth pulled, and that is not the case, right? We are really there to support you at any part of your writing process. And we can do all kinds of different types of writing, from lab reports to essays and memos, national scholarships, cover letters, applications, citations. And we have a really strong team of peer undergraduates who have gone through rigorous training to do this for your students and for their peers. So it's a really amazing network. But my favorite part is just seeing the students interact. We also try to make it a kind of space, a community space, where at any point, if you go to the next slide, you'll see at any point, you can come and meet kind of individually with these individual appointments, depending on what part of your kind of writing process you're in, from brainstorming all the way to the end revising. But also students can come and just work in the space. So say you have a writing assignment coming up and you don't even know where to start, you have no words on the page, come to the Writing Resource Center, come sit underneath our great mural wall. We have like this giant tree mural, and we have lots of art and twinkling lights. We try to make the space feel homey and comfortable, and you can begin to work. And if a tutor is available, you can just ask a quick question. It doesn't have to be a very formal, come and bring your essay, and you sit silently while a tutor looks at it and marks it up with a red pen. That's a very intimidating experience, and that's not what we do. We're really just a second set of eyes, another like viewpoints for you to look at your work and your students' work. So we encourage you all to come and hang out and ask lots of questions. And I think unless public speaking is next, maybe somebody else will take over. So let's see what this next slide. Yeah, okay, great. I'll be back to talk about the public speaking lab in a second.
Thank you so much. So did I or did I not say that we've got some amazing people on the call? Well, thank you very much. And we're about to meet another amazing human being. Nino Jakaya is going to talk about our ESOL Center. So take it away, Nino.
Thank you, Amelia. Hello, everyone. Happy to be here. I'm Nino Jakaya. I teach writing composition classes here at ESF, and I also coordinate English for Speakers of Other Languages Center, ESOL Center. First of all, English Center, ESOL Center exists to help all multilingual students at ESF, whether they're undergraduate students or graduate students. This is a free student service, and we offer support with not only English language, but also we help them to navigate academia at ESF, because as we all know, academic life in other countries may be a little bit different than in US. And I can speak of myself as well as a multilingual student. For many years, I know the trajectory that the students had to go through and what they are doing and what they need to achieve to be successful here. So we offer here different services. We offer one-on-one and group conversation tutoring. We have English support classes, group classes. We help them improve their conversation skills, and we also offer different classes such as grammar class, where we work on different grammar segments. And we also have international students as well as ESF students who are co-leading these classes. Some of our students want a little bit of more help with pronunciation. We are not here striving to get rid of an accent. Accents are beautiful, but we are just trying to help them to speak a little bit clearly, especially if they are not confident about their speaking skills. So we offer one-on-one workshops to help students overcome the challenges. We also have another program which we started 2 years ago, which is conversation partners. We have partnership with Public Speaking Lab, and tutors from Public Speaking Lab are helping students who need one-on-one, very informal conversations with ESF students, and they learn a lot from them firsthand, and they meet once a week, either online or face-to-face. And we also sometimes, from time to time, offer different events. For example, last year we had culture through film, where we introduced different movies, films, and that are also co-led by students from different countries who give a context and a little bit of background about the country. Students can make appointments online at this website, and also they can just stop by. We are housed in the Academic Success Center, and we will have it open on the second week of classes. So thank you.
Thank you very much. So the next team that I'm going to toss it over to is the Digital Storytelling Studio. So Jason, take it away.
Hi, everybody. Working with audio and visual, and I don't turn on my mic. So thank you all for coming by. And my name is Jason Colbrine. I oversee the Digital Storytelling Studio, and we provide a lot of training and resources for students taking classes or a part of clubs who are interested or been assigned any multimedia work. There's a lot of courses that give some opportunity to maybe not just submit a written paper, but do a multimedia story as an alternative. So we provide access to microphones, still photo cameras, video cameras, and also the software that students can put their stories together. We're open to everybody, and students don't necessarily have to have an assignment in order to use our equipment either. We find that a lot of times just taking a walk around campus, maybe someone wants to, learn some photography skills so they can sign out a camera for us on those walks. We also provide the training of all of these tools as well. So we don't anticipate anyone coming in with these skills, but it's amazing how many students do come in, and the collaborations that start growing out of not just this center, but all of the other centers combined. It's the basement here of Moon is just bustling with activity, and especially when the semester is just, moving, the basement of Moon is grooving. We will be over in Marshall Hall, but we're still, part of the student experience for everybody. And looking forward to seeing all your students here in the fall.
Thank you. I love that tagline. That's hilarious. Well, the digital storytelling studio is moving over to a beautiful space in Marshall Hall, which is a recently renovated space. So please go and check out the digital storytelling studio. So I'm going to pass it back over to Jacob, who's going to talk about our public speaking lab services.
Yes, another group that is grooving in the basement of Moon Library. We have the Public Speaking Lab, which is very similar to the Writing Resource Center or Academic Success, and their kind of peer tutoring, but it's all focused on verbal communication. It can be super scary to stand in front of a group of people, both digitally, but in the kind of for real space, and present something, whether that's with a slide deck or a poster presentation, whether that's going in front of a board of people for a job. And so the Public Speaking Lab is there to support students at every part of that journey, both from like kind of academic, but also for professional skills. And they get feedback right there. One of the kind of neat things is that if students opt to, you can actually have your whole session recorded. And so we'll record you giving your presentation, giving your speech, and then we'll run it back. And we'll look at it kind of like a football coach watching with their team, film study, and say like, okay, you stood up strong here, but here you said a lot. And you can go through the kind of tape and figure out how to best prepare for your presentation in the meantime. Christina Syracuse is amazing and coordinates the PSL. There are also several kind of public speaking, verbal communications courses that are offered, some that are required for students depending on your major. And so the Public Speaking Lab works in conjunction with those courses. It's a great skill to have, especially as we have these scientists and environmentalists who are going to kind of change the world, but they have to be able to communicate how they're going to change the world. And the Public Speaking Lab is a great laboratory to work out some of those things. So Christina Syracuse, Public Speaking Lab, come visit in the fall.
Thank you so much. So if you haven't gotten the highlights from all these people, Basement of Moon is definitely a place that you can go if you do have questions, if you need support. It's a really great hub of folks. So thank you everybody who's presented so far. We'll kind of transition a little bit to talk about the CDR, but if you have any questions for any of these folks, please write them in the chat. Ask anything while they're here. So I know some people have questions about the Center for Disability Resources and the services that they provide our students. And Allie had touched on things a little bit earlier, that this is a resource that is housed at SU, but is available to ESF students as well. If your student is coming from high school with a 504 or an IEP plan, or even if maybe they don't, maybe they have never had a diagnosis, or they might have a few challenges with learning, and they just want to speak to someone about what might be available to them in college. The CDR is a great place to start, to get linked with an access counselor who can kind of help navigate the beginning of their semester, their experience throughout the semester. The registration form is available on the SU CDR website. After students fill out that form, they can indicate what challenges they may have, what areas maybe they have a lot of strength in, and they definitely don't need support in. And together they discuss about what might be a good fit. So a plan is then generated, and then that is discussed with the faculty. So the CDR also houses a lot of fantastic resources for students too, some kind of beyond what maybe has even been available in high school. So if you think that maybe this is something that might resonate with your student or you, check out the website because they have a lot of really great resources. On the line, we also have Renee McNamara, who is the primary liaison between the ESF CDR or the SU CDR and ESF. Renee is a great support for our students, so feel free to connect with Renee in the chat. So just know that if over the summer you're thinking that this might be something that you want to get signed up for the fall with, you can submit an application right now. And I would highly recommend doing that because a lot of students might wait a little bit after kind of their classes are underway. They might forget to do it and might have difficulty connecting with their access coordinator. So I always say, just try to submit an application ahead of time, see what might be available to you. And then if you don't need the services after you've kind of gotten some experience in your classes, then that's totally fine too. Nobody says that you need to use them, but just know that that's there as a resource. So feel free to take a screenshot. This information is also available on the SUCDR website. Students can log in to this portal through My Slice, which is the SU portal for Blackboard and all of the other access portals for Syracuse University. You can also call their office, but it would be best to kind of visit their website, see what is available to you. And if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, or you can reach out to disabilityresources@syr.edu. So the next person I'm going to hand it over to is Erin Ticelli, who is going to talk a little bit about academic advising at ESF.
Hey folks, sorry, I'm looking at this and it looks a little different on my screen than it does on Amelia's, so I'm going to roll with Amelia's screen. So hi, my name is Erin Ticelli. I'm one of the professional academic advisors at ESF. So for folks in programs with professional advisors, you have a dedicated advisor to work with you, and many students will also work with a faculty advisor. So you will work with that person to establish your curriculum track throughout your time at ESF. It's really important at the beginning of a student's career to establish that relationship and meet with their advisor frequently, hopefully at least 3 times in a semester. Maybe check in early. You'll see them at orientation. That is the goal. You'll check in with them at orientation, and then, you know, maybe a month in, maybe check in with your advisor, see how things are going, see if you need to use any resources that you haven't tapped into yet. And then you will have to meet with your advisor when you start planning your schedule for the following semester. So those touch points are really important. So you establish that relationship with that person. They will hopefully help you along with these academic deadlines, but be mindful that there are deadlines for when you can add a class, when you can drop a class, and when you can withdraw from a class if you're struggling in that, or you need to get out of a class for any reason later on. I'm sure that you have heard this in other spaces. Your SYR email is your official email, and your advisor will be communicating with you through your SYR email. So be sure to check in with that email regularly to look for any notifications from your advisor or your faculty or whoever is going to be communicating with you through that. And I can do as much outreach as I want, but if you don't come see me, then we can't establish a relationship. It's a two-way street, so we do want to see you reaching back out to us. So make sure that you are in relationship with your advisor. Next slide. So it's really important to be prepared for your meetings with your advisor. And at the beginning, that's especially going to mean making sure that you know what AP or IB or CLEP scores that you may have earned throughout your time in high school or at a transfer institution if you have community college credit, or if you're transferring from another four-year institution. Take a look when you get here at your degree works audit and make sure that all of your transfer credits have come over. As we talked about earlier in the chat, you know, the community college credits do not automatically come over. You have to request those transcripts. So it's really important for a student to be prepared and understand what they should be getting so that they are not taking a class that they've already earned credit for. So being prepared in that initial meeting is important. Understanding your own curriculum is important. So when you go into that scheduling meeting in the future, it's going to be really important for you to know what you need to do so that you can have the best conversation with your advisor that you can. It's also important to know that advising doesn't always have to just be with that one human. There are plenty of people that you've already met tonight who are advisors in their own way. You can meet with Jacob. Jacob can help you out. Jason can help you out. Nino, everybody that we've met so far is an advisor. Allie has wonderful resources that maybe your professional advisor doesn't have. So making sure that you find the right people or just your right person is really important, and finding that human, whatever form it takes, if it's a peer, if it's a staff member, if it's, you know, the person in Baker who does all the plants, you know, anybody can be your person here at ESF. And the other thing to just think about as you go into advising or just into your college path is reflecting on what you want to get out of your college experience. And when I say that, I mean, if you've always thought you wanted to be an environmental engineer, but you get into the classes and it's not quite what you think it will be, think about what it is about environmental engineering that calls to you. Is it solving environmental issues through technical solutions, or could you design solutions to environmental issues? There's a lot of ways to get to your end goals that aren't always what you thought they were. So think about what you want to do and where you want to go, and we can help you get there through different avenues and with different supports on campus. And there's a lot that you'll learn as you go along about minors that can help you on that path. And there's just a lot of people here who are rooting for you for your success. Don't know if the next one's me. Oh, cool. It is still me. For people who maybe haven't been at this meeting and didn't meet all the wonderful humans on this call, your advisor can be kind of like a one-stop shop for you to connect to places that you maybe don't know exist. So maybe you are interested in studying abroad and they can connect you with international education. Maybe you forgot to fill out your FAFSA, or you're not sure if you're eligible for something, or if you forgot to send in your transcript on time, and we can connect you with the registrar or admissions or bursar. So your advisor should be there for you to help you find the next step. If we're not the ones with the answers, we're going to try to find the person who does have that answer for you. So again, establishing that relationship with your academic advisor is really important. So then, along with all of those other tips, just understand that every class is its own unique ecosystem. So what works for you in general biology might not work for you in writing in the environment. So you will have to adapt as you go into your different classes and find different ways to be successful in these unique ecosystems. And one of the biggest ways to be successful is to interact with your peers and connect with them and develop your own study groups, or say, hey, let's all go to academic success or this bio review session together. I know others have already said it. Don't hesitate to ask for help. That's one of the most frustrating things, is when people are too scared to ask the questions. And we really all want you to be successful. So we want to help you find those people and the places where you can be successful. And it's also really helpful to go to office hours, meet your faculty. They love to see our students. They want to know who you are. They want to help you. And it's so much easier for them to do that if they know your face and your name. So reaching out to them, going to office hours, staying after class for a few minutes to ask some questions, that's huge. So make sure you do that as often as you can to establish those relationships. They can help you connect with other faculty throughout the department. Your TAs are a really great resource as well. So be sure that you are utilizing all of the people that are here on this call and all of the people you will meet on your journey at ESF.
Thank you so much, everybody. I just want to give a round of applause via emoji for everybody who took time out of their evening to really be here. And also thank you to everybody who's tuned into this call. Thank you for asking questions. If you didn't get your question answered, we're going to reserve some time right at the end. Just a quick reminder, we do have 2 more sessions left. The 2 remaining themed Zoom sessions are student mental health and wellness and student life at ESF. If you have questions, we're going to stop the recording now and we'll feel free to unmute and ask your question or ask it in the chat. Thank you everybody for being here, and thank you again to our wonderful panelists.